Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of The Prediction Show. I am your host, Joe, and this is The Prediction Show powered by oddalerts.com. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I took about a week off in terms of creating videos. I was still doing some bits here and there on the site. My family came to visit, and I also did this. Yes, that's right, Odd Alerts Mini is coming. Expected release date May 2025, and it is a boy, confirmed. So congratulations are in order, I guess, and congratulations as well to this user, because you have won Odd Alerts Pro. You commented on the last video, so here you go. Unintentional rhymes and incredible segues, that is what's on offer in this episode of The Prediction Show, but it doesn't stop there, because we are going to show you a few games that I found today. Tuesday, the 19th of November. Where has the year gone? So we'll take a look at the Nations League. We've got some EFL Trophy games as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. And if you're interested in winning Odd Alerts Pro, then you too can comment on this video and be entered into the draw. And I'm going to make it easy for you, because I've got a question. I've got a question that I need answering. I need a name for the baby. What would you call your baby if it was a boy? If you've got one already, maybe you wanted a certain name, your wife vetoed it. I'm in that situation at the moment. Let me know some names, and it will really help me out. So comment your favorite boy name. This is a weird question to ask on YouTube, isn't it? But here we go. So we will start, and I will start by just saying there's not too much football on today, but I wanted to do a video. I wanted to come back and create a video, and regardless of there not being too much on, Odd Alerts allows you, whoa, what's happened there? I've just loaded the page and the probability model is showing automatically. It must be a new feature. It is a new feature. What happens now is when you select odds or stats or in-play stats, say if I select odds now, when I refresh the page, when I come back to the site tomorrow or tonight, it will show me the odds by default, and this is a really good quality of life feature, and thank you for the user that actually suggested it yesterday. And we're going to actually take a look at this game, because we've got Bradford City against Rotherham United in the EFL Trophy. Now, it's a rivalry, a Yorkshire rivalry. And on the face of it, you would probably think, well, Bradford League 2, Rotherham League 1, this is surely going to be an away victory. Maybe not. So we will skip this at the moment, because it's obviously just showing us the EFL Trophy record. You can look at it if you want, just to see how they've done so far. But we're going to skip to the results, because this is where it gets interesting. Across all competitions at home for Bradford, they have not lost many games, certainly not this season, just once this season at home, which was to Doncaster Rovers, who are another team looking to get back to League One football. And you can see they've not lost a game since March 19th. Now, Rotherham, when you look at their overall form, just one victory since early October. They are a team that are usually a yo-yo team, going from League One to the Championship and then back down. But at the moment, given their away form, they have one victory in 2024. One victory away from home in 2024. That is a terrible run. Now, a lot of this, as you can see here, is in the Championship when they were relegated, and they were really, really poor last season. And now they've come down. And yes, they've picked up a few more draws, but it seems they are still struggling. Now, what I will say is that they've scored in the majority of those games, certainly in that spell from September onwards. Failed to score in the last couple of games, but those games where they did pick up points, they scored. Will they score against Bradford tonight? Let's have a look at the overall form for Bradford, and we can see that they don't lose many games, just 3 games in the last sort of 10 to 15 spell. So despite the poor away record, the away team is favourites, just over evens. Bradford 3s. So what I'm thinking about this one, I was looking at over 1.5 goals, looking at the double chance. Bradford or draw 1.61, over 1.5 goals 1.28. We can see what other picks we get for today in terms of maybe creating a treble or a double, or maybe you want to just have a single for this game. BTTS 1.72 incidentally. I could see that landing as well, given how strong Bradford have been at home as well and how often they do score. They've failed to score in just 2 home games this season. Just quickly as well, this is the table at the moment. This is not a knockout game. This is actually a group game. So Rotherham top with 2 wins from 2. Bradford will be keen to actually win this game, or at least get something, because Mansfield obviously could qualify out of the group. And, people might say this is a nothing trophy, but this is a Yorkshire derby against these 2 teams, and there is a potential route to Wembley on offer here, which both of these teams would fancy. So I'm going to go with Bradford or draw and over 1.5 goals at this moment in time, and that is the first game that I wanted to show you for today. So now we're going to jump back to the fixture feed and look at the next fixture. The next game comes from Spain, and it is Levante in the first round of the Copa del Rey, and if we look at the odds here, 1.83, 1.93 peak. I think this is worth a stab, because Levante are in the Segunda. They are, everyone remembers them, of course, from being in the top flight of La Liga for so long. And they are away at 4th tier Pontevedra. Now, of course, as you can see, they are a team that are used to winning games or not losing many games. This is their form then when we look at all competitions. Segunda Division RFEF Group 1. They're in the 4th tier of Spanish football, which includes many groups. You'll see it on a Saturday morning. There are just so many groups, and I don't know how it works, how you get into that 3rd tier. Maybe there's some massive playoff at the end of it all, but I'm not sure. But as you can see, they're not a terrible team at all in their own league. And this is the form for Levante as well. And you can just see, just on a bit of a side note, the type of teams that are now in the Segunda, or La Liga 2 as it's called now. Granada, Deportivo La Coruña, Racing Santander, Oviedo, Almeria, Real Zaragoza. My pronunciation is abysmal, but these are all teams that were in La Liga as of pretty recently. So I do quite like the odds here, because yes, there could be an upset. Of course, there could be an upset, and that's probably what people are hoping for. If we look at the home form, they're not a bad team. They're not dominant, are they? They're not amazing. They're not winning every game at home, and there will be a difference in quality here. There will be. So let's see how this one goes. It's not a sure thing, of course, but I think those odds for the difference in quality of the players on the pitch, 1.93 if you can get it. The odds have dropped actually on Bet365. And as always, let me know what you think in the comments about this one. They're still favourites, Levante, of course. They're still favourites. They're still under evens to win, which is over 50% in terms of implied probability. And I just think that's great. I think they should be much higher, for me anyway. So we'll have a look at this one and we will add it to the selection. And it is 1.83 here. To qualify, 1.4 if you wanted to go down that route. It does go to extra time and penalties as well. So Levante to get the job done. And I'm going to continue with a trend here, because there is another game that I've found which has surprised me in terms of the odds. Let me just load it up. So this one takes place at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Bolivia against Paraguay. Now, I found this on, I was filtering for unders, games with under 2.5 goals, and this one came through because Paraguay are very interesting. You'd look at this here, and you'd think that, well, Bolivia are probably going to be the potential favourites. They've scored 11, but they are conceding for fun. They've conceded 25 goals already. Their goal difference is -14. And when you look at Paraguay, they have a very, very good defensive record. And away from home, they've had 3 0-0s in a row. They've only conceded 1 goal away from home, which is very, very strange, to Argentina. And just on Argentina, if we look at their overall form, in this international break, they have beaten Argentina already. They are unbeaten since their defeat to Argentina. Now, if we look at Bolivia's record, they come into this having lost 4-0 away from home. And I mentioned the away from home because it's very interesting. So just take all that in, right? All the records and stuff like that. If we look at the home form, though, they have won the last 3 games, although none in this international break so far. Now, just remember that home form and away form, it is important before we just check out the odds quickly, because this is what surprised me. Paraguay 6.25, the team that has just beaten Argentina. Bolivia 1.6. That, to me, is a little bit crazy. Let's see what the probability model is saying for this one. Much more even, as we can see, 3.59. So Paraguay to win is a value bet, no doubt about that. I'm going to have it on as my odd alerts prediction. But what I want to show you now as well, which is also pretty interesting, is the head-to-head. So as we can see here, it is very interesting, this data, and I don't think it's too unfamiliar when you look at these South American international head-to-heads, especially if you're going to a place like Bolivia or Ecuador to go and play your football. The last 7 meetings between these teams has ended in a home victory. The last 7 meetings, you can see there, 78 of all meetings between these teams. And this data here goes back to 2004. The last away win came 9 games ago in 2011. So I guess what I'm asking is, can Paraguay get something from this game, given their recent form? Bolivia have scored in the last 4 home games that they've played, and they have not drawn a single game in their qualifying campaign. It's a big game for Bolivia, actually, because if you look at the table, which I'll show you in a second, they need to get some points. So they're on 12 here in 8th place, and Paraguay there, you can see they're in great form, probably in the best form out of any of the teams. 2 defeats for Argentina, 3 draws and a defeat for Uruguay, who are second, 2 defeats in the last 5 for Colombia, and they are the only unbeaten team in that stretch. And Bolivia, of course, as we saw, losing the last couple of games. I don't know, Paraguay, the odds for me certainly jump out. I would probably play it as a single. Let's have a look at it. Paraguay. So 6.25, as we can see here. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. I was just very surprised. Don't get me wrong, Bolivia is a tough place to go and play football, but 6.25 just stood out to me. Very enticing. And if you are value betting on odd alerts, if you've got filters set up for away wins and you've got automated alerts toggled on, you will have definitely seen this game when the odds came out. Paraguay or draw 2.3 is very enticing. I'm going to go with that as a single. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's see how this one plays out. Finally, we will look at the Europa Nations League games, and again, we're looking at the probability model here, and I've got a list of teams here that I've noted down. Iceland, Germany, Ukraine, Slovakia, and Sweden. Can you guess what they've all done? Can you guess? They've all scored in every Nations League game so far, and let's see how many games that is. It's 5, so 5 out of 5 in terms of those teams. So how many of them will continue that trend? Germany are playing away at Hungary. You would expect them to continue that trend. Ukraine away at Albania, not the easiest game in the world. Iceland away at Wales as well. That'll be an interesting game for sure. Maybe BTTS in that game. It has landed in 60% of games for Iceland so far. And of course, Sweden at home to Azerbaijan. You would expect them to continue their scoring run, no doubt about that. 1.28 for Sweden to get more than 1 goal in that game. Wales-Iceland is an interesting one, isn't it? Let's have a look at the recent form. Now, depending on the table and the standings, these games can be glorified friendlies. Teams will experiment. Wales are unbeaten, which is quite interesting, and away draw at Turkey in the previous game. That's a pretty good result for Wales. At home, they've scored 1 goal in 2 games. Let's have a look at all competitions. Doing pretty well, Wales, actually, at the moment, to be fair. They are tough to beat. Iceland away from home have scored in the majority of their games recently against some pretty okay teams. They scored against Ukraine, they scored against Israel, who have shown that they can score goals in recent months. Montenegro and Turkey they also scored against as well. So will they score against Iceland? Will they score against Wales here? Wales have 2 clean sheets in a row coming into this and are obviously unbeaten since June, which is pretty good going. Given the recent tightness for Wales in terms of their defence, the odds for over 1.5 goals are elevated, so I did fancy that. And over 1.5 goals, 1.36, Levante to win. And the Bradford game, I have removed Bradford or draw, but you can, add that on. Let me know how confident you are in that one. And we've just gone with over 1.5 goals there as well. So 3.21 for this treble for Tuesday, the 19th of November. We're going to look at the Betslip generator now because it's been performing incredibly well. Let me know what you think about this Betslip in the comments, and I'll see you on that page. So this is the Betslip generator. This is actually Twitter, as you can see, but I shared a generation on X on Saturday, and I shared 6 selections from the 10 that it gives you. 4 out of 6 won, including 1 3 odds, 2.81, 2.81, and 2.72, and that was 5.34 units of profit. And these were all value bets, and I will show you how to create bet slips like this in a moment. In fact, we will jump there right now, and you can see that here I've got the target odds of 2.5. Items per slip 2, which means doubles. The odds per item in the slip 1.2 to 3. No competition selected, but let's say this weekend is the Premier League. Thank God it's back. We can click edit and we can just search for the Premier League, EFL games, stuff like that, and add them in if you wanted to look ahead. And you can look ahead. You can select next 5 days, next 24 hours. We're going to go next 24 hours here because this is for the purpose of this video. And value bets only. Yes, please. Home wins 60% or more, away wins 60% or more, over 1.5 goals. Yes, we're also going to toggle the double chance, which was on for the one that I posted on X. So we've got over 1.5 goals, away wins, home wins, 1x and x2. And of course, you can put corners in here as well. And we will select get. And then we get, as you can see, a good selection of games, and actually the Bradford City double chance that we were talking about is a value bet at 1.61, and Cuba is a pairing here from the Algerian second division, 1.61 as well, 2.59 odds. Our target odds were 2.5, weren't they? So Malta Andorra over 1.5 goals is 1.61. That's a value bet, and San Marino was a value bet yesterday as well for, I think, over 2.5 goals and over 3.5 goals. Huge odds, huge value there on offer. And if you are part of the value betting on Odd Alerts, you would have seen it. Again, double chance here in the non-league, all for tonight. And Qatar under 23s, 1.65. That is a friendly, so you may want to remove friendlies from this, and cup games, completely up to you. And of course, with all the qualification games, be sure to dig a little bit deeper into the tables and the recent results and the head-to-head, especially, as we saw with the South American teams. It is quite crazy, some of the head-to-head meetings. And, we saw, 7 meetings. Every single one has been a home victory. Could tonight buckle the trend? Let's see. Panama, Costa Rica, also decent odds for over 1.5 goals. And double chance for Belgium against England's under 19s, 1.61 for them to draw or win. 71% chance the model is giving it. So you can see this is a really, really easy way to create sensible bet builders and sensible bet slips. And if you wanted to, you can change the odds here. You can make it a treble, a 4-fold, a 5-fold, but I'll let you do that, not me. And of course, you can select next 5 days, and then you've got slips that can run across the weekend or across the midweek period. You can select the competitions if you want to just have, let's say, Champions League, Europa League, Conference League in the week when that's back on, or EFL games only, over 1.5 goal double, just EFL games. That's, based on probability and value bets, that's one very quick way to find great selections, to be honest, because there are value bets for over 1.5 goals every week, pretty much, in the EFL, and especially in non-league as well. Non-league is a bit of an untouched league from what I've seen, but there is plenty of value there. Plenty of strong teams as well that can go away from home and get a job done. So that is the Betslip generator. As always, thank you for watching. If you've got any feedback, ideas, suggestions, just let me know, and I will see you in the comments.